Everyone says, get a good accountant, but no one tells you what that actually means. Okay, you want someone who files clean, accurate returns and protects you from IRS problems, but you also want someone who's going to proactively tax plan and reduce your tax bill. So what should you be looking for? Okay, well today I'm giving you my 3-part framework to help you choose the right accountant, someone who protects you and your business and reduces your tax liability, not someone who is experimenting on your taxes. And if you don't know me, I'm Jasmine DiLucci. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and enrolled agent. I got my first tax license as an enrolled agent in high school. Okay, my day-to-day is actually running my CPA firm and my tax law firm, but I started posting on social media and created a free tax law community because there is lots of tax garbage out there and I want you to be able to cut through the bullshit. So let's break this down. Step 1, check for license and experience. Here is the truth, okay? Anyone can call themselves a tax strategist. The title tax strategist requires less education, training, and licensing than your hairstylist or your realtor, because your hairstylist and your realtor actually have to go through training and get a license. But a tax strategist, an accountant, or even a tax return preparer, they're all just self-proclaimed titles. You can wake up tomorrow morning and call yourself a tax strategist or a tax accountant. That is exactly how much regulation there is with these titles, which means this industry is full of underqualified people giving advice that leads to penalties, audits, or worse. And I know this because of how many people end up in my office with IRS issues explaining that they wish they would have known how to pick the right accountant before they got into this mess, and their tax strategist is nowhere to be found. Here's what I would do. Verify there's an active license with the state or the IRS. This is public information online, okay? Check for ethical violations when viewing the license online. If there are any, that is a deal breaker, because even some accountants that get incarcerated, like the Chrisley's accountant, don't have the ethical violation on their record. Okay, the states are pretty supportive of their licensed accountants and are not quick to put violations on there. So if someone has one, that's a big deal. Also, look at how long they've been licensed, okay? And I would consider this in context of which license they have as well, because the easier the license, the more experience you want to see. Okay, there are 3 tax licenses that matter, in my opinion, okay, listed in order of difficulty to obtain. Most difficult, becoming an attorney, specialized in tax, because law school is really hard, okay? 2 is certified public accountant, because it requires college, working under a CPA, and a very difficult exam. And 3rd is enrolled agent. So the easier the license is to get, the more experience I would expect to see. Okay, had I taken on clients on my own at 18 years old as an enrolled agent, I would say that client probably should have done more research when selecting their accountant, because while licensed, I didn't yet know anything. Okay, so you want to consider both the level of the license and the depth of the experience, but qualifying level of experience is hard when you don't know tax. So the next step is how I would approach it if I didn't have any tax background, which is step 2, find someone who truly enjoys what they do and cares. Okay, tax law is hard. Running a tax firm is hard. I promise you, if you find a firm where the team doesn't enjoy the work in and of itself or doesn't care about their customers, you will get inferior work compared to people who do, right? The person who enjoys walking walks further than the person who enjoys the destination. Someone who enjoys their work inherently will learn more and learn faster than someone who doesn't. And how much a person loves what they do should be measured by their actions, not just the words they say. My belief is, as humans, we can feel it. And I care about this one so much that it is how I hire accountants at my firm, okay? The way I refer to it is when someone has fun tax energy. It doesn't mean they have to be bubbly, but it does mean they have to be dedicated to the practice of tax first, committed to excellence, enjoy what they do, and truly care. I can feel when someone is primarily focused on money and using tax solely as a tool and not as a part of the mission. And I have seen it impact the quality of work. So I do not hire anyone who does not have fun tax energy. And my recommendation is that you don't either. Step 3, ask about the firm's software and setup. You want a firm that uses technology, okay? Accountants are not always known as the most up-to-date with the latest tech, and it does impact your work and certainly impacts your experience, okay? You want a firm that uses a secure client portal, basic, okay? Has e-signature and e-filing systems in place, also basic. Has a good tax software, critical, okay? The software should be one that is for professional tax firms, okay? So a preparer using TurboTax that does not work for TurboTax is preparing your return and then having you sign off as self-prepared, which is not legal. And finally, has a great tax research tool, okay? Critical, and it is almost never asked by clients, but it is such a great question to ask. Great tax research tools include Checkpoint, Bloomberg, LexisNexis, Westlaw, and CCH, and I'm sure there are a few others. In general, you can Google it to make sure it is a professional grade tax research tool. The thing about tax is that no one ever gets good enough to not need to look anything up. In fact, the best look things up the most, even when they think they already know the answer. A novice relies on memory from the last time they looked it up. A veteran pulls the exact statute or treasury regulation to make sure it applies precisely to the facts. So here's why finding a good accountant also matters legally, okay? If the IRS ever challenges your return, you don't automatically get off the hook from insane penalties just because you thought you relied on a professional. To prove reasonable reliance and get out of penalties from issues that can arise, the court requires 3 things, okay? First, the advisor was a competent professional who had sufficient experience to justify reliance. 2, is the taxpayer provided necessary and accurate information to the advisor? And 3, is the taxpayer actually relied in good faith on the advisor's judgment? If your accountant doesn't meet that first standard because it was unreasonable for you to rely on them in the first place given their lack of experience, then you have a problem. So if it's not already obvious, picking the right accountant can save you thousands in tax and stress, and picking the wrong one can cost you way more than money. So if you want actual tax law, not internet hype from someone who's licensed to do more than hold a ring light, subscribe. I love helping you sort through the noise.